What is going on, guys? We're here with another Overprime video. How is everyone doing today? Today, I'm a little disappointed to announce we are going over these patch notes and there's no new character, unfortunately, for this patch. So we're getting a patch on Friday, and it is not Drongo. It is kind of a weak patch. I went over the patch notes already, but I'm gonna go over it with you guys so you guys understand what's coming on the 14th or the 13th night, basically 14th morning. This patch is gonna release at 12:30 a.m. on Friday. So if you guys are looking forward to this patch, there's some changes, but there's not much. It's a pretty weak update. I guess we're getting Drongo at the end of the month, and then as far as I'm aware, Greystone is probably being delayed, which I'm super disappointed about because I was so excited for him. So yeah, no Greystone. As far as I'm aware, maybe they're both coming in the same patch, but I highly doubt they're going to do a dual character release. That doesn't seem practical in any standpoint. But who knows? Maybe we'll be really lucky. So anyways, let's go over these patch notes. Yeah, like I said, really weak patch, but starting off, the skin actually looks pretty amazing. I do think this Chimera skin looks great. It is a Chimera skin, it's heroic, so I believe it's going to be $10. But yeah, it looks really good. I do like the golden, kind of like bits here, and then the hatchet or the tomahawk, whatever this thing is, looks amazing. The red crimson demonic essence, just like the possession look, and the glow looks amazing. The skin in game is going to look phenomenal, I can tell. So this is a $10 skin most likely, and it's a Chimera skin, so if you Chimera players, for the people that like him, which a lot of you do, there, you get a skin. Some discounts for some characters, Gadget Narbash, just gonna ignore all that stuff, of course. Hero balance changes, so this is some interesting stuff. Again, not too many changes, but interesting. I don't know why they did this, but Mako's base damage has been adjusted, so his base damage and all of his abilities across the board go up, so obviously you mage Mako players are getting a little bit more love this patch. It goes up from 55 to 60 at base, 135 to 160 at max level, and then your fly skill, also your shield duration was adjusted to go a little bit higher, small 0.5 values at some certain levels, and then your heal over time amount has been adjusted as well. Your heal over time with your ultimate, which is your R skill, also has been adjusted from 0.25 to 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, which is actually really good. I did say his heal needs to do more. Maybe this will actually make his heal feel more potent, because it definitely feels really weak. For all of you saying Mako was super broken, I guess I didn't think so. I thought he was pretty strong. I don't know if he was broken, but he was really, really strong. So there you go. You get a patch. So yep, they adjusted this. So because the cooldown of Mako's Q was so short, they set the base damage low. However, a lot of players sent feedback the skill's damage output was not enough to counter enemies, which again shouldn't be the objective of a support. I feel like you shouldn't really focus on this. I feel like that it should have been low. Don't make him into another DPS decker thing. It's just stupid. This is why you don't listen to players. If this is what the feedback was saying, you're stupid. I don't think his Q, I get you want to be soul lane mid Mako, but I don't even think this change is bad per se for the damage, but at the same time, it's like, it should be weak, like your support. Anyways, your R skill was not being used due to its slow healing, so the amount of healing has been increased. I agree that the R was kind of weird to press unless it was for peel, so now you can actually use it for healing, which is really nice, at least hopefully. Yeah, those are the Mako changes, so he got some love. Decker high elasticity, Jesus Christ. Plasma ball has been adjusted, so it goes from 80 to 65 and 240 to 225. So I guess this touches Decker mages, but it doesn't fix the ADC issue, which again, her damage I think was always this high. I don't think her damage was ever touched. Even if it was, it's not the issue. Decker ADC is just prevalent for some reason. I don't really think it needs that many nerfs, but at the same time, I feel like maybe I don't know what you could change about Decker to not make her one of the most frustrating supports to play as. She's been the most frustrating support to play against pretty almost from the start, if you don't count phase. So, Plasma Dome, her E skill duration is adjusted 4 seconds to 3 seconds. Plasma Dome attack speed and movement speed, that's her duration of the actual dome itself. I feel like nerfing this is bad, but I do think the attack speed does need a nerf. It got a massive buff from going from a 30% at max level to 30% at the start of it and going up even more. It's now 0.28 and goes up very, very, very slowly up to 0.4. So I don't know if you guys are maxing stability first. I wasn't, but if you are, there you go. When high elasticity plasma ball, debuff and plasma dome were used together, the combination was a powerful harassment tool in the early changes of the game. We have decreased the damage of the plasma ball and decreased the duration of the plasma dome. Again, doesn't fix the ADC issue. I think it's still going to be very prevalent, but it's a step in the right direction, I guess. Again, I don't know how you make her not frustrating. I can make her do 0 damage, but yeah, I don't know. So Grux got a buff. He actually got a healing reduction buff. I think they should just change this to bleed. based on percentage of your physical power. So we got a 30% to 40% at max level. But then he also got a damage buff, which again, he has needed. If you guys haven't heard, I've been saying multiple times, Grux is pretty lackluster in comparison to a lot of these other warriors that can just pump out a shit ton of damage. So he gets a 5% damage buff. Absolutely amazing inside of his ult. So he can brawl a lot more and actually win fights. Great change. Definitely needed it. Again, he's been so weak in comparison, and everyone else has been getting buffed, which is crazy to me. We have increased the healing reduction granted by Grux, then we also have slightly increased Grux's R skill to give it more offensive boost. Aurora, dude. Now these changes, man. These changes are... Aurora is one of those characters that you have to know how to play. And I haven't agreed, I think, with like a single buff. I mean, I've liked some of them, but like some of them have been quality of life changes. And this is a damage buff, but it is a nice change considering she is a tank. And guess what? They did change her role to reflect that. I know people were like, she's not a tank. She is a tank, and they have now changed her role to reflect her being a tank, because she's truly that. I think they should also do the same for Steel, because he is also a tank, instead of putting him in the support category, because he's not a support, he's a tank. Anyways, 2% total damage health bonus added for basic attack after using your glacial barrier. So if you guys understand, when you use your barrier, you get, I think it's 0.5 of your magical power is used to do extra damage. So now it's not just that, it also is your extra health. So you're getting a flat damage bonus. This can be anywhere up for like 70 to 100 power, depending on how much health you have. 100 damage extra, which is just really nice for the clear. Definitely helps her early game quite a bit in terms of just clearing, even though she doesn't need it. It might make her jungling actually the best in the game for a tank. She might be able to out clear everyone but Crunch probably when it comes to tanking, which isn't that hard to do because they all suck at jungling, but she might be the strongest one because this damage bonus is pretty huge. But it might be later in the game that it activates because you don't have a lot of health starting off. So very, very good changes. Also, the effect is currently active. It was omitted in the skill's description, so they just fixed that. She got more base damage on her ult, the second attack, the first attack, and then they also increased the coefficient by 0.2. So the thing about it again is you're not going to be building full power on her, so I don't know how much this actually matters, but as far as I'm aware, when Twinblast got his coefficient buff on his right click, it mattered massively. So 0.2 is a lot. I'm curious on how much damage she's going to be doing with it now. With her, I guess her ult. Oh, it's just the coefficient of the second base attack. Okay, so it's just her ult. I wonder if her ult's going to be slapping in the second hit, though. I'm curious. But this is a big one. Her cooldown was adjusted. Now, I don't know if this is a good or bad change. I wanted her cooldown to be shorter because you get more utility out of her. But if people don't think she's the best character in the game after this, is insane. She's going to pop ults every time you see her. Once she is once she's level 16. Level 16 Aurora is going to be insane. I don't know what 40% of this is. Someone, you know, do the math. I think it's like I think it's a minute. I think it's less than a minute. I think it's like 50 seconds every single time you ult. It might be a little bit lower. I don't remember the cooldown value, but it's absurd. Her ult is going to come back so freaking fast. Every fight you're going to have the ultimate now, which you basically do almost every fight if you go full CDR. It's going to be quicker, and it's going to be nicer to have it early game because it's a 2-minute cooldown instead of almost a 3-minute cooldown. Super nice. And they also changed her role from caster to tank, which again, I've always said she's a tank. I don't know why people thought otherwise. She's been a tank since the start of the game. We've determined that Aurora fits more of a tank role than a caster role and changed her position accordingly. Frozen Track Q skill has been decreased so it can be used more often, so she can get away easier. Oh, did I go over that? Yeah, they also decreased her cooldown over her dash, starting off early, which is fine. I mean, it's whatever. She's already uncatchable. Glacial Explosion cooldown skill has been increased and area effect have been increased. We are hoping these changes give Aurora a chance to use more skills in versatile situations in the battlefield. I've already said multiple times, I think she's the best character in the game. I think she's just misplayed and people don't know how to play her or build her. And they don't know how to take advantage of her. She's also a team player, so she's not going to solo anyone. She's pretty much strictly just for the team. But she's the best person to have on your team. Her ultimate is insane. They made it stronger. They made her stronger by herself. They made her more elusive by giving her a shorter cooldown. And they just gave her more damage and health scaling on that auto attack to make her help better in her trades. These changes are fine because but I don't think they're necessary. I feel like her kit is already perfect. I feel like she hasn't needed any of these buffs. But I feel like these buffs are making her just starting to power creep the other tanks because she offers too much to the team. Her ult is a wide AoE stun that chains and has a 4-second stun ratio across the whole team, and it can stun people who aren't even hit by the initial explosion if you stand near them. If you're grouped up, it's just a huge punishment. She has a wall that can completely get your teammates out of danger and completely disrupt the entire fight and put it in your favor if you wall it off. Also makes her extremely elusive when she's using it for herself. Her right click is able to make her completely just dive towers and not worry about anything. Her ring glacial thing is really strong just in general, which it should be. That's her main damage. but it's also really good CC. Although she has to put herself in danger for it, it's still a really, really effective form of CC, especially when you get close. And now her ultimate has a way shorter cooldown. I think she's absolutely bonkers broken crazy as right now, and she's even more crazy right now. I think she's still the best team fighting character. Nothing's really changed. No characters come in to shake up the meta where team fighting is like not important. When you're in that orb fight and you just see an Aurora dash in, and then she just decides to ult coming down when the Decker already used her stun, or the Muriel already used her stun, or when she's over the whole team. When she's in the air, it'll hit everyone under her. If you guys don't know, if you guys need a tip on how to play Aurora in a team fight at the end of the game, dash up, look up to the sky. If you look up, you can go up. Then you dash up, and then you drop down, and as you're dropping down on everyone, ult in the air, because they probably won't, as long as you got all the stuns out, Decker's not waiting for you, whatever. Ult in the air, because you can hit everyone under you super easily in a wide radius, as long as you're positioning correctly, and it pretty much guarantees you a free ultimate, and then your team can just wipe them. So if you guys want to, that's the tip to Aurora, by the way. That's like, if your team is good, if they're playing correctly, you don't need to carry the game. All you gotta do is carry the team fights by pressing your ultimate. Just make sure you guys are grouped up and run into one person. All of you run into one person and just press Aurora ultimate. There you go, you win. And then obviously you can just start using other abilities, just trying to press people, but your ultimate's the most important thing. You're pretty much an ult bot. But yeah, anyways, Faded Light cooldown has been decreased. Faded Light, oh, we're on Kalari. So Kalari got buffs, finally. Jesus Christ. Her cooldown for her Faded Light, which I think is her teleport, right? No, that's her, I guess that's her invisibility. It went from, the cooldown is from 12 seconds to 10 seconds at max level. Her stealth duration has been adjusted from 14 to 12 seconds. The nerf, right? Oh, max level 12 seconds. Okay. So she has less stealth at the end of the game, but she has more stealth earlier. Okay, interesting. All right. Faded Light Q damage coefficient for basic attacks from behind is now 0.15 to 0.3. That's a massive, I don't know how coefficients work in this game, but that's a massive damage buff if it is like 1.5. Or I feel like she'll just one-shot people or get close. If she can ever hit it, which she won't. Cooldown has been decreased. Its stealth duration has been adjusted, and backstab damage bonus has been decreased. Kalari players using her stealth abilities more rewarded for pulling up backstabs. Yeah, they didn't adjust the problem that she can't actually do the backstab. The ability is going to be annoying as hell, but wards are everywhere, so she's going to be killed off cooldown. It doesn't change a single thing. Makes her stronger against new players who don't ward, against supports who don't play supports, but it's not going to change anything. So, still a terrible character fixer. Don't buff her invisibility, just change the ability in general. It's a terrible ability, terrible mechanic. It's always something bad to go off of. There's like, I hate invisibility in games. Twinblast Equilibrium, R skill coefficient adjusted. His ultimate got adjusted massively by 1.5. Or no, 2.5. Yeah, or no, 1.5. Yeah. Yeah, definitely way too strong. Obviously way too strong of an ultimate. I think everyone can agree. His ultimate can almost 100 to O people when they buffed it. I'm glad they nerfed it. It was fun having these crazy twin blasts, but let's get rid of it. So yeah, thank you. Thank God. Thank the stars. Iggy, mini health turret adjusted. I don't 610 to 680. I feel like this is not a problem. I feel like the core issue isn't the turret health. It's like mages and rangers I feel like are really good into Iggy already. I feel like Iggy is very overrated personally. I feel like he's impossible to beat in lane, but he can't actually do anything for your team. So I don't like having Iggy's on my team. Definitely would rather have any other mage. And in solo lane, I'd rather have an actual frontliner because fighting for objectives is impossible when Iggy's not doing anything. So it's hard unless you're set up in a bush and already ready to go. His ultimate got a massive damage nerf, so, which, to be fair, most of his damage came from his ultimate, but it's not the only thing that makes him really strong. Magical coefficient on Tions, including jungle monsters, are adjusted, so now he's going to have a harder time clearing lane, as well as actually killing things. I'm curious if it's going to affect his laning phase in the solo lane at all, or if he's still just going to dominate solo. I feel like it's still going to be the same, but we'll see. But it's a pretty massive nerf for Iggy, so Iggy, if you guys hate Iggy so much, he's unhealthy for sure. I feel like his kit is just designed unhealthily. I feel like he just needs a slight rework on how his turrets work. I don't know what you want. If you want to have like a gadget placing like character, maybe not have 4, maybe have 1 turret that's really strong or something instead of having 4 that attack you, because having to deal with 4 of them is kind of problematic. Or make it like he can't put down multiple turrets but they do more damage. Like, I don't know. Because, but nerfing the health viz could just make him unplayable in a lot of areas, like especially against mages. Starting off, it's still pretty weak, but the max levels are really, I mean, 610 to 680 is a pretty massive nerf. So, and then it also does less damage and everything else. It's like against Tions and also against heroes. So, despite the last round of Iggy in Score's pick rate and win rate continue to remain dominant, so we are applying a second round of adjustments. Mini turret health has been decreased to make them easier to destroy. Firework Festival, magical power scaling has been reduced to make it easier for other heroes to counter. I mean, again, all this helps melee. I feel like ranged characters don't have a problem against Iggy. I feel like it's the melee characters that struggle mostly because you're, you know, obviously people who know how to play the game, they're not going to step into his turrets. They're going to destroy them with an ability, and then it's gone. And end of the game, when you're in like the tough team fights, especially when you're running into people, unless you're running into Iggy turrets, and again, if the ranger isn't shooting it, if the mage isn't hitting it, it's pretty much easy to deal with. So I don't know. I feel like he's annoying and he's impossible to beat in solo, but at the same time, it's a toxic design. It's like phase. It's toxic design. It's like just needs to rework. Mini Moda slows enemies by 30% for 2 seconds instead of 1 second upon a successful skill attack. I think this item is going to be really good on Gadget now, which I think it already is. I think it's must have on Gadget and Faye, but it's hard to build in with the new Ranger items. But at the same time, it's a really strong item. But I feel like it needs a little bit more. I feel like I think the 2 seconds is nice. Very, very good. I mean, 2 seconds of slow is fucking massive in a team fight. When you have a gadget go down on you and it ticks every second, it's like every 1.5 or 1.2 seconds, it's tick, 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 tick. That's going to really hurt. Or any other mage that has like a long, you know, lasting ability, like Shinbi. Like Shinbi would be really good with Mini Moda if she didn't already insta-kill the enemy. The problem is, like, this item is good on, like, anyone who's, like, not a squishy. Or if anyone who can't, like, actually hit characters with their abilities, like the Fae. You want to keep them in your right click, but you want them to last in it. 2 seconds isn't going to be enough to make it, like, you know, it's not going to stun them. But at the same time, it's going to help her for sure. I think Faye's definitely going to benefit more from this, but it's not going to be like the end all be all, you know, whatever. Definitely a decent item now for Faye, Gadget. I can't think of any other. Gideon, probably, if you really want to use his ult for this. But it's probably not a must-have pick. It doesn't have mana, it doesn't have CDR, it doesn't have pen, it doesn't have anything other, it doesn't have health, or it does have health, I think. But it doesn't really have a lot going for like the actual item itself, aside from just the slow effect. And I feel like stat-wise, it just isn't there. Not enough characters can utilize this enough. And like Gadget, even, who's probably the best person to have with it, or Shinbi, already has better options. So it's like, I mean, Gadget probably might need this just to guarantee more kills, but at the same time, I don't know if I'd waste a slot on this for pen, percent pen, or like anything else, like cooldown, like I don't know. Same thing happened with Deck McCannon, which I'm never going to use this item over Chainsaw ever. It's just a massive damage. Like, I don't know who's using this item. Like, I don't think there's a single melee character who could take advantage of this. I feel like Greystone will be able to take advantage of this item. Unfortunately, he's never going to build it, but I feel like he's going to be able to take advantage of it, so. Quick battle. Adjusted the matchmaking region for parties of 4 to 5 players. Now parties of 4 to 5 players share an exclusive matchmaking pool. Please, dear Lord, remove ranked. First off, remove ranked. Take ranked out of the game. It's a terrible game mode. It doesn't actually, it's not balanced. It's not, the ranking system isn't good. It's super cheesed. Take ranked out of the game, and then open up the pool to everybody. When you're in a 5-stack, just make it so you're queued against other 5-stacks until 2 minutes or 3 minutes into the queue, and then it'll open the queue up to everybody. I don't know, maybe something like that. Because right now, there's not enough players to do something like this. This is splitting the player base. I will probably have to keep my party exclusively at 3 players now, so me and 2 other people, because this is just a terrible change. This is not the way to go. I do not like this change. I want them to change this, make it, just remove ranked and make the pool bigger. It's just not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Splitting the player base in any capacity right now. We already have it split because of ranked and the 5-player pool. Now it's 4 to 5 players. So all they're doing is making it harder to party up with other people. If you have 4 people, a party of 4. You want a party of 3. And even as a party of 3, now you're excluded from partying against people within a 5-stack, which people want, but that's not practical. You need to party against 5-stacks because the game doesn't have enough players. And it shouldn't do that anyways. It should already be like that. Like it's supposed to be a healthy game. There should be games accessible at all times of the day. This is just splitting the player base more. Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of this change, guys. Adjust the surrender voting time that becomes available after a game begins. So it's now 15 minutes, 10 minutes. So that has changed. So we now get a 10-minute surrender instead of 15 minutes, but you cannot surrender for another 2 minutes. I do like this because even though I feel like 50 minutes is fine, it's quick battle. Let me surrender early. I hate my team and everyone disconnects or patrols. I'm very glad we get this. Please. Thank God. Very good change for the surrender time. And I know it's sad, but it's just the state of the game right now. People don't know how to play, or they troll me or something. It's like, I'm so glad. And then we get some bug fixes. Fix an issue where a hero skin couldn't be changed if a hero was trading, blah, blah. They said that this, I just saw this one. The power of the mini turret summoned by another friend skill decreases by 25% using Firework Festival R skill. I don't really know. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, so I guess maybe that was always a thing. They fixed the Mako thing. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Wait, what? Oh, what is this? Fixed issue where competing in a game in a new region when the person records are spending matchmaking gains wouldn't grant EXP. Oh, weird. Um, I mean, pretty much again a weak patch. There's some nice changes. I'm very excited to try Aurora and to see if she's a little bit stronger in terms of just like her pure damage as a tank. But overall, I mean, there's not anything crazy. There's some interesting changes, like Twinblast getting the old Nerf finally, thank God. I'm a little disappointed there's no Drongo just to get him out of the way, because now I as far as I'm aware, Greystone is delayed. They haven't said anything about Drongo. They said they teased a picture of Drongo, but no Greystone. But the roadmap still says Greystone. So I'm curious, is he still coming in the same month? Is there going to be another patch, or is there only 2 patches, or is he delayed? Because if he's not coming in 2 weeks, which I'm assuming he's not, it's just Drongo as far as I'm aware, then it's going to be 4 weeks, and obviously that means there's a delay. And again, if they need a delay, they need a delay, but that also means the other characters are probably getting delayed into June, which means Adele's probably going to come later, which is also disappointing, either June or July, or the end of June. So yeah, a little disappointed in the patch. I mean, again, not any change, aside from Aurora, one of my mains. I'm very excited to play her, but nothing really super outstanding or anything. And then also, the skin's nice, but again, no core changes to the game. The changes to farming and lane didn't happen. The kill gold didn't happen. You know, the item passes were minuscule, which is fine. Nerf tanks, buff tanks apparently, Nerf ADCs. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the orb wasn't changed. Like, I get it. This is a smaller patch, but hopefully a lot of these issues are addressed in the next patch, because I know a lot of people are just like, oh, the game has a lot of potential, but it's not grasping it. I get that. And it does. You're right. I agree. I'm getting, it's not, and again, it's not the game. The game has a lot of issues, but the game having a lot of issues and having a low player base is causing these like unfiltered players to play and then like troll my games, ADC solos, weird itemizations, ranked is super scuffed, like all this other stuff. It's just not it doesn't feel healthy to play the game. And I like playing the game. It's a fun game to play, even though there's a lot of issues. But again, the player base is what's ruining it for me in terms of like actually enjoying it every day. But at the same time, them not changing anything is also ruining it, because they're not attracting new players, they're not attracting old players, they're not keeping players around. They're just losing players because they're not making the changes necessary that we've been saying. Now, obviously, I'm a big advocate of devs don't need to follow whatever the players say. I feel like everyone's an idiot, including myself, and I feel like we make stupid decisions all the time and stupid ideas and recommendations for the dev team. But at the same time, they need to listen to some extent to the things that are major, like the orb. The orb needs to be changed. Or the deer having that single cycle of things, I think, is a big thing too. I think it ruins game variety. It's just one-time strategies. It's weighted towards certain people. Like fire is weighted towards DPS. Earth is weighted toward tanks. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like there's no value in getting the actual buff in a lot of cases. It's just only good for certain characters on the team. It's like you can build a certain way around it, but a DPS is always going to build full damage, right? And a tank is always going to build full tank. That's just how it works. You're not going to, just because there's a fire, you're not going to be a tank and just decide to go damage. It's not going to happen like that. You're going to stay a tank, but you're not going to get as much value as the DPS. The DPS are going to be two-shotting you, but then if you're a tank and you get 5 Earths, then you're super tanking, unkillable, but the DPS is weak. Like, they don't have a lot of powers, so stuff like that. It's like just a lot of different changes like that. Character changes, are there still a few that needs to be, I think that the tank items in general are still a little bit too strong. Just a tank pass, like I said, the items, I don't think people realize how valuable tanks are. I've been playing ranked, sadly, and I get a few games where I'll have 2 tanks, and whenever I have 2 tanks, we crush it. Now, I've lost games still, even with 2 tanks, but we're still dominating every time. Having 2 walls in front of you is so important. I'm always one of the tanks, but having another tank with you, having another wall with you is so important. So I do our tanks really strong. Yes, I win every time there's an ADC solo. When I have 2 tanks on my team, we win. It's not even we really dominate as long as my tank is playing the game. As long as he knows how to play, as long as he's playing right, we win. But obviously, ADCs are strong because the game, people don't know how to play the game, so they abuse ADCs. That's just how it works. If more people were playing the game, ADCs probably wouldn't be abused more, because people would probably know how to play the game a little bit more with tanking, building, all that other stuff. So I don't know. There's just a lot of things they have to address, and this patch just didn't do anything to address that. I mean, they buffed the best character in the game again because people don't know how to play her. So I'm curious just what the thought process is, and like the data that they're looking at. It's just interesting, but there are some good changes here. Don't get me wrong. And this is a fun change for Aurora, but again, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, there were some changes, but like I said, I'm looking forward to the end of the month more than this. So this is not really a big patch. I'll probably be live for this patch, most likely. I wasn't live today, so look out for that. But yeah, unfortunately not a good patch. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed though. I'm looking forward to Greystone though. Hopefully he's still coming this month. Maybe they'll do a double character release and I'll fucking blow my mind, but I don't know. It is a shame we're not getting Drongo yet. That wasted space. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you hopefully by the time Greystone comes out. I'm still pushing out videos probably daily, hopefully, but at the same time, I'm not sure. I don't really know what I'm going to be making. I need to make some guides. I know I wanted to make my next Xena guide, but they haven't fixed her desync yet, so I haven't thought of another guide after that. Yeah, but so not sure what's coming next. But yeah, Greystone, hopefully still this month. Fingers crossed. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.